A warm welcome to your Barbados Today Evening News Update for Tuesday, April 13th. Government today rolled out its national cleanup program to clear the island of ash. Minister of Housing, Land and Maintenance, Dr. William Duguid, says it's a massive undertaking, but no part of the country will be left untouched.
We've not only brought into use all of the government equipment here from MTW, but also as many of the private sector people as we could get to assist us in the cleanup of the road program. It is a massive program, you would appreciate, but we have to get that dust under control, because if we don't get the roads under control, as people drive along the roads, it will continue to throw up the dust. The second part of our program is the cleanup of all the government buildings. And we are doing not only the car parks of the buildings, but we have to do also the roofs and the buildings themselves on the outside and the inside. So what we've done here today is we've been employing the use of drone technology to be able to assess the roofs of the buildings. As you're aware, that clearly a lot of weight of the ash is on the roofs. So we're using the drone technology to assess the roofs as many of the government buildings as possible. Clearly, we don't have to do the buildings that have a walk up to the roof, because a lot of the towers have walk ups, so those are not the ones. But I knew that MTW here did not have a walk up, so we chose to do this one first to have a look at it, and also to look at the photovoltaic panels on the roof. Because what we're finding is the dust has accumulated on the photovoltaic panels, and then make assessments of what we need to do to clean those photovoltaic panels, because as you know, many government buildings have photovoltaic panels as well, to be able to supplement the electrical income from the electricity on those roofs. And then the third thing that we're doing is assessing the drains of those roofs as well.
He added that particular attention will also be paid to the government's housing units.
The National Housing Corporation is also looking at the start of the cleanup of the National Housing Corporation estates, starting with the driveways, the roadways, looking at the downpipes, looking at any tanks that they may have, and most important, checking the drains. Because as the rains come, and if we don't have the integrity of those drains, then we're going to suffer a lot of flooding all throughout the country. So drains are very, very important. We're trying to keep as much ash out of the drains as possible, not only in the roadways, but also in the estates. And I would ask everybody as well to make sure that very little ash goes into the drains, because it will cause significant problems with flooding as we move into the rainy season.
Reckless driving by some road users today forced the Sanitation Service Authority to suspend the collection of household waste. The authority's public relations officer Carl Padmore told the media that motorists persisted in driving at high speeds despite the ash on the roads, endangering SSA workers.
We've had cases where the amount of ash on the road, the drivers were driving so quickly, it came up, covered our guys, although they had on the correct PPE gear, that's personal protection equipment gear. The visibility was poor, and we had reiterated the appeal made by Minister Abrams to drive with due care and attention. This made our job very difficult this morning. Although we tried to flag down some of the guys, they did not take heed. Therefore, the collection for today, the 13th of April, had to be suspended. We are making an appeal, therefore, to members of the public to please at least stay 2 car lengths or a truck length behind the SSA's truck. If you have to overtake the truck, do so slowly and cautiously, so as not to disrupt the ash in a big way. That one, it makes the visibility poor. Please, we have humans working behind the trucks, and therefore we want you to pay some attention.
Padmore also appealed to the public not to dispose the ash in their regular garbage.
You can place the ash in suitable bags, which could be a crocus bag, which could be a heavy-duty garbage bag, and place it in your garden. You can find a farmer, but do not commingle it with the household waste.
In the latest COVID-19 update, the island recorded 4 new positive cases of the virus on Sunday, while 6 people recovered. The new cases, which comprise 2 men and 2 women, were identified from the 220 tests conducted by the Best Santos Public Health Laboratory. The number of persons in isolation is 88. Confirmed COVID-19 cases in Barbados now stand at 3,734, and a total of 3,613 persons have recovered. 44 persons have died from the viral illness. To date, the Public Health Lab has conducted 146,355 tests. The number of vaccinations administered as part of the National Vaccination Program for COVID-19 is 65,873.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To regional news, a contingent from Trinidad and Tobago safely arrived in St. Vincent and the Grenadines today to support recovery efforts. The team brought relief supplies including water, water tanks, and food. Lieutenant Colonel Josette McLean says the TNT team will be on the ground over the next 2 weeks.
Our team is very diverse. It's comprised of logisticians, engineers, medical staff. We also have a Coast Guard vessel that's going to come up a little bit later on tonight with additional personnel. So our entire contingent is going to comprise approximately 50 persons that are going to be here for at least the next 2 weeks to support the disaster relief efforts.
She added that Trinidad and Tobago is happy to offer support to its CARICOM neighbor.
Trinidad is happy to be able to support the effort in any way that we can. As CARICOM, we are one, we are brothers and sisters. So I mean, we are really happy to be here, and of course to assist in any way that we can, just as we have done in other instances, right? Because you would have seen us in the Bahamas, Dominica. You know, we always try to assist wherever and however we can.
On the international scene, Johnson & Johnson says it is delaying the rollout of its coronavirus vaccine in Europe amid a U.S. probe into rare blood clots.
Federal sites are obligated to pause that J&J vaccines, and they're recommending that states do the same on a local level. And they're saying that because they feel that out of an abundance of caution, they need to pause the administration of the J&J vaccines. But they insist that these special blood clots are extremely rare. 6 cases so far confirmed by the FDA. One person died from those blood clots. Another one is in critical condition, according to the FDA officials. But it seems through that press conference that what the FDA is more worried about is not necessarily the link between the J&J vaccine and that blood clot, but really the treatment of the blood clot. They repeated time and time again that the reason for this pause was to give time to healthcare providers to adapt their treatment to these specific blood clots, because they said that the standard of care usually used for blood clot could actually worsen the condition and could prove to be fatal in these specific cases of cerebral blood clots. So it looks like the FDA is being very cautious and trying to give time to hospitals and healthcare providers around the country to really get that information and to know how to treat these blood clots when they actually happen. They said that they're reviewing the situation and that it will take probably a few days. They want it to be done expeditiously, and they will give final guidelines probably within the coming days, maybe next week.
That's news, but for the very latest, visit our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, or like us on Facebook, and sign up for our breaking news alerts via WhatsApp. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals, as well as screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also hear us on Mix 96.9 FM and Capital Media HD 99.3 FM.